Hey y'all, it's Lily here. I am starting my research on the Yellow Man of Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. I currently have a massive thunderstorm going on outside. I checked the radar and it was fine. And so I get ready to record, and of course, now it is just raining cats and dogs outside and thundering up a storm. And I'm actually going to turn off a couple of things right fast. I shouldn't have started this, but I'll be right back. Okay. I'm going to hope that power holds out because without power, I don't have the internet. So, I'm also testing out using my new earbuds for sound. So, hopefully, you guys can hear me better. And I hope I have a decent angle on the camera. I can't tell on my camera if the black bar I'm seeing happens to be the side of my computer or if it's this like side of the screen. I keep messing with it. I don't know. We're gonna see. But we got the vibes going outside. It's nice and spooky outside. It's the day after 4th of July, which I think all of horror Twitter has declared being the first day of Halloween, so it works. Alright, let's see. Yellow Man. This one was picked by you guys online as what y'all wanted to be the next story from Bachelor's Grove. I did do a little bit of reading ahead with the paranormal guide, research guide that I shared from Bachelor's Grove Cemetery in the last set with the disappearing house. Which, if you haven't looked into the disappearing house wrap up or read the written, go do that. It's really interesting. You know, people see a spectral house, and nobody really knows what house it is or where it comes from, if it's real or not. So it's interesting. Sorry, my glasses are filthy. Can I just get started, can I? Alright. So, let's see. Let me mute the sound on my computer. As always, if fork needs me out. Pause for a moment. But so far, so good. Alright. So, from the paranormal guide, let me make sure I'm actually saying this by the right name. Okay, paranormal research guide. Just want to make sure I was calling it the correct thing. But according to this, the earliest sightings were from 1984, so we are going on almost 40 years here with this one. It happened originally in the summer of 84, with the first written recording being presented in October of 84. Let's see. So a month and a half ago, I saw an apparition standing by a tree. It was a yellow figure, a man with a hat, probably in his 40s. The author of the article added he took a picture of the image on 100 speed film. Further details of the sighting found its way into the 1989 book True Tales of the Unknown. So, Oh, I'm sorry. It is True Tales of the Unknown and the Uninvited. I did not see the colon in the continuation of the name. And that is by Sharon Jarvis. Alright, the telling goes at about 10 p.m. that night. Oh, let's see. I'm not saying this is a difficult name to pronounce. I've just never seen this spelling before. I'm going to assume it's Basil. Which, of course, makes me think very fondly of the little black cat that is snoozing somewhere in the corner. Because that's what he always does whenever I'm doing these things. Him and one of his associates were attempting an overnight camping excursion within the cemetery. Camping's in quotes, I don't know why. A few hours after their arrival, while both were standing back to back to each other, his associate stated, "Oh my God, look what's standing over there by the trees." And by the time he turned around, it was too late. The apparition had disappeared. And his associate described it as a man in his 40s, all yellow, wearing a suit and hat. And by the way, I do have 2 black cats and a gray cat, and I guarantee you one of them will walk by me at some point in time. I will not see them, and they're going to scare the bejesus out of me during a storm while I'm looking up ghosts. Let's see. So his associate described a man in his 40s, all yellow, wearing a suit and hat. A moment later, they both witnessed red streaking lights and watched in disbelief as a single tree began to shake frantically. Out of fear, him and his associate gathered their equipment and they both immediately left the area. There was no mention of a photograph captured of the event, nor did Basil get a chance to see the apparition as it was stated within the 1984 newspaper. Unfortunately, he is currently unavailable for a full interview, but further attempts are being made to locate him. Let's see if this was the last updated October 2011. So it's been a little bit. In the meantime, it should be noted that Basil and his associate's name is definitely something I can't pronounce. We're just going to call him Kaz. Were in communication with each other during the 1980s, hence how the story found its way into the book. Oh, wait, that's not his associate, is it? It's an author. I'm sorry. Kaz is not his associate. It's the president of the Ghost Research Society in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Whew. Dyslexia is hard, y'all. See, further details of the sighting were printed in 1991 by More Haunted Houses by Jim Bingham and Dolores Rico. So, let's see. I'm bad with names. The real reason why I call everybody nicknames is because I can't say real names. My terms of endearment, because I cannot talk. Let's see. page 143 of More Haunted Houses, it describes his associate as a skeptic of psychic phenomenon, but agreed to come along in order to help carry camera equipment and microphones. By midnight, he was feeling quite smug and a bit sorry for Basil due to nothing unusual occurring. That's when the apparition was sighted. Upon each of them reflecting on what the figure could have been, red streaks of light started darting around the cemetery, and then one tree started to shake violently. It should be noted that there is at least some correspondence between Kaz and the authors of More Haunted Houses before it was published. I do find it interesting with the whole tree shaking thing, because of the one story from 2015 of the disappearing house with the moving vines. I just find it interesting that both of them have movement like that, like with the plant life. Of course, one being out way longer than the other, it is always still possible that somebody took that and reworked it into their own story, but I don't know, maybe it lends some credibility to it that otherwise was dismissed. In 1996, there was a report of a woman by the name of Heather, and she said, "I was starting to get bored with being there. Then it happened. I saw a man there dressed in yellow. I told my dad, and he didn't see anything. Neither did my friend. I couldn't help but stare at it. It wasn't a solid form, but more translucent in shape, and although I did see it. I can't explain exactly what happened next, but I remember leaving the cemetery with my dad and friend. Then all of a sudden, I felt something cold rush past me. I started to run. I didn't care. I wanted out of there. I had had enough." There's no mention of the exact year in which these events took place. Okay. This next piece of information is a little, I don't want to say wonky. It involves the author of this guide, where he photographed and saw something, but his experience had been previously misconstrued, so he cleared it up. And he basically was out testing out a new digital camera, and this was in 1998. So you can imagine October 19th, 1998. If you remember digital cameras back then, they weren't very great. They were extremely pixelated. And so he was just out testing a new one that he had gotten. Big booms. Sorry, my eyes are playing tricks on me behind because I only have a couple of lights on. So, again, looking up ghost, stormy weather in the dark, whatever. Alright, so he was out there testing his new camera. Upon capturing a view of the Fulton Monument, at the very moment the button was to be pushed, the image of a tall yellow humanoid figure was briefly witnessed with the human eye, which was also within view of the camera lens. After the photograph was captured, it was obvious that the playback image on the LCD screen had a discrepancy which, when compared to standard surroundings. My eyes are getting ahead of me in reading. I'm so sorry, y'all. In the exact location where the apparition was sighted, the image did show a yellow area where there was no other object resembling yellow. There also appears to be what looks like a human torso with a pair of legs below it with a question mark. So, let's see, it says here, although the image may have some research value for more serious paranormal investigators due to the human eye confirmation factor, it was never considered sorry, it just... You ever read something and the words just don't work right in your mind, or is that just me? It was never considered necessary to reveal to the general public due to the low resolution caused by the quality of digital cameras at the time. It would have only been dismissed as something else and would not have served much purpose. And it's kind of funny that they say this, because when I was looking at the photographs on the website before and I saw this image, I immediately dismissed it. Of that could be anything. Like to me, didn't necessarily look like anything of anything. And honestly, pulling it up now and taking a look, I could see how one might see a torso or legs or something like that, because it is extremely grainy. And the spot of yellow, they had to circle, like they have the original and then they have one where you have the spot circled. And while true, there's nothing that color yellow right there, you can see behind where the sun is. And so it could be considered a reflection of some kind. Additionally, we all know pareidolia is seeing familiar shapes out of something that they're not there. You could make out a figure if you wanted to, but the tombstone looks like it has eyes. I see a horse head in some other shape. I mean, this whole thing looks like a magic eye, so I can count 2, 3, 6. 6 different faces I can see in this without even trying. And, I mean, that's just the... Ooh, 7. Really creepy eyes up here. That's just how, unfortunately, grainy and pixelated cameras work. Oh, well, now I'm just seeing them everywhere. There's like one down here that looks like a little skull. And another one looks like an even tinier little skull. Oh, okay, I gotta move away from this picture. If you were to hand me this, though, and say spot the ghost, I would probably pick out a feature that actually looks more like an orb on here than I would this yellow spot. But that being said, I do absolutely commend the author actually not wanting to mention this as an experience and to put it out there, because it is so easily cast aside as not being able to just distinguish what it is and describe what it is. Then they have another one from 2011. Okay. This is one of these ones that, again, I always just dismiss immediately off of what it looks like. It looks like somebody was playing with lights or a lighter and exposure time to draw out. But honestly, it looks more like a man on a horse if I was gonna, or a person on, like, riding horseback if I was gonna say anything. It looks like their hand wrapped around the neck. But it doesn't say to me that this is anything paranormal, because again, it's something that plenty of people have done with their cameras, both digital and film. I think it's getting further away. And then, in regards to that one that I dismissed, this was actually taken in April of 2009. It was just shared in 2011. It was approximately 10:30 at night. It's next to the same monument as Peter's. Pete. Taking that same monument as Pete's. According to Nina, she was standing by the tombstone of Charles B. Shields in Lot 17, looking east, when she started to feel somewhat lightheaded. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw something that looked like a shadow person run past her. That's when she snapped the photo and caught this anomaly. Every fucking time. I can't say this word. Anomaly. I can kind of say it. I can say it slow. The article goes on to quote saying, once I started feeling dizzy, it was almost as though I was somehow surrounded and being guided to take this photo. When I grabbed my digital camera, I noticed that it was turning off and on by itself, and it was at a different setting than the one I had chosen earlier. What else is there? I do want to go through the Bachelor's Grove personal story section, but unfortunately these are all done by the people's names and not by what they saw. Why is this name familiar? See what some other sites have to say. It was really not helpful when it's stormy outside and you're sitting in mostly the dark. So when you're watching an old video and it's just little bits that are clipped together in kind of a creepy fashion. I want the storm. Finally got it. Alright, hello man. Let's see. Wonder. Oh, great. This doesn't really have much more because even though it doesn't have a list of where they're getting their information, it is pretty much exactly the same. Fuck! So my power went out. Briefly, it's back on. Of course, then my computer shut off. Exactly what I didn't want to happen, but it's starting back up. Just so I can shut it down properly. I'm going to be done for now. And every light in my house that was turned off came back on because they were all like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi ones. Alright. Well, I'll see you guys next time.